I already had the DNA test in my drawer. She was crying. He was smiling. That's the moment everything I knew about love, family, and loyalty exploded. One of them lied. The other ruined everything. But neither of them knew I already knew the truth. And what I did next, no one saw coming. I have been married to my wife, Maddie, for 6 years. We were together for almost a decade in total. No kids. We talked about it but decided to focus on careers and travel first. Seemed like we were on the same page. My brother, Ryan, is the problem and always has been. Even as a kid, he was that kid. You know the type. Always in trouble, always lying, always turning everything into a competition. He was my parents' golden child, though. Somehow he could crash my dad's car, lie about it, and I'd get grounded for creating tension. Meanwhile, I worked, studied, stayed out of trouble. Didn't matter. Ryan was the charmer. When we hit our 20s, things got worse. He bounced from job to job, lived with girlfriends until they kicked him out, ran up credit cards, then cried about being misunderstood. I'd cut ties with him completely back in 2019 after he asked me for $5,000 to cover emergency dental surgery, then posted pics a week later on a ski trip with a girl he met on Tinder. No surgery. No teeth even mentioned. Anyway, I moved on with my life. Got promoted to senior consultant. Maddie and I bought a house. I hadn't spoken to Ryan in over 2 years. Then last April, Maddie said she wanted to invite Ryan to my birthday party. That was the first domino. He's still family. When Maddie brought up inviting Ryan, I flat out said no. We hadn't spoken in years. She knew exactly why. But she kept pushing. Said she saw him post on social media that he was getting his act together and working on forgiveness. She thought it would be healing. He's still your brother, she said. Against my better judgment, I gave in. Fine, I said, but if he pulls anything, he's gone. Spoiler alert, he pulled everything. He showed up 90 minutes late, already buzzed, wearing sunglasses inside. Gave me one of those bro hugs like we were best friends. Then spent most of the party entertaining everyone by telling exaggerated stories about our childhood that mostly made me look like an uptight nerd. He made a joke that I was never any good with girls and slapped Maddie on the back like it was hilarious. That should have been my first sign. 2 weeks after the party, Maddie told me Ryan called her. Let that sink in. He didn't call me. He called her. Said he got evicted again and was too embarrassed to ask me directly but hoped we could let him crash on our couch for a few days until he figured stuff out. I said no. Maddie said she'd already told him yes. This became a full-blown fight. I told her point blank, he's not our problem. She insisted it was temporary. Said he just needed a hand. That if he saw I cared, it would help him get back on track. Fine, I said. 1 week. That's it. He stayed for 6. Red flags all over the place. During that month and a half, Ryan basically turned our house into a frat den. He ate our food without asking, left wet towels on the couch, and used my electric razor on his dog. Yes. On. His. Dog. He slept till noon, took calls that always sounded like fake job interviews, and somehow kept borrowing Maddie's car because mine was too small for his energy. What does that even mean? And Maddie? She changed. Not drastically, but enough. She started laughing more at his dumb jokes, letting him cook with her, watching late-night Netflix on the couch while I was in bed. She said he was growing on her and that deep down he's sweet. I didn't think much of it at first. I mean, he's my brother. And she's my wife. What the hell did I have to worry about? Turns out, everything. One night, I came home early from a work trip. I didn't tell them because I'd switched flights last minute and figured it'd be a fun surprise. I walk in at 9 p.m. House is dark except for the living room TV. I hear them laughing. So I go in and there they are, Maddie on one end of the couch, Ryan stretched out with his feet in her lap, both holding glasses of wine. I just stood there. Ryan jumped up and made some dumb joke. You back already? Missed my big spoon. Maddie looked like a deer in headlights. I didn't say a word. Just walked into the bedroom, locked the door, and sat on the bed trying not to smash something. Maddie came in 10 minutes later and tried to act like it was nothing. Said they were watching a movie and he jokingly put his feet on her. I told her it wasn't funny. That had crossed a line. She apologized, but I could tell she thought I was overreacting. The next day, Ryan was gone. Maddie said he left in the morning, said he'd found a place. She acted surprised. I checked our ring cam later. He left at 5 a.m. with one duffel bag. Nothing else. I still don't know where he went. But I had this gut feeling something was off. That was 3 months ago. Last week, Maddie sat me down after dinner. She looked pale. Wouldn't make eye contact. I need to tell you something, she said. You know the thing where your stomach drops before your brain even processes what's happening? Yeah. That? She told me she was pregnant. Then she said it might not be yours. And that's where I'll stop for now. Yes, there's more. A lot more. Including what happened when I found out just how far this betrayal went and what I'm planning to do next. Because I'm not sure whether to burn everything down or just walk away and never look back. My wife, Maddie, sat across from me and told me, flat out, she was pregnant and it might not be yours. Those exact words. I remember blinking like I'd suddenly forgotten how to function. No yelling. No slamming the table. Just pure silence from me. And you know what she did? She cried. I didn't mean for this to happen, she said. I sat there like a statue. No reaction. Because my brain couldn't catch up to what was happening. She kept rambling, something about being confused, lonely, how things got blurry after Ryan moved in, how nothing serious happened at first. That phrase stuck with me. At first. I finally found my voice. I asked, when did it stop being nothing serious? She couldn't even look at me. 3 weeks before he moved out. Once she knew I wasn't going to explode, Maddie started spilling everything, or at least the curated version she thought I could handle. She said it started when she and Ryan connected late at night. Talked about life, relationships, you and him growing up. You know, standard emotional bonding garbage that always turns into something physical. One night they got drunk, watched a movie, one thing led to another, and they hooked up. Not a full-on affair, according to her, just one stupid mistake. Then it happened again. And again. Then she said she tried to end it, but Ryan kept coming on to her. That's when I snapped. You're blaming him? The guy you were cuddling with on the couch like it was a rom-com? The guy you let into her home, who you defended against me? She went quiet. I told her I was getting a paternity test the second the baby was born if I stuck around that long. Stupidly, I texted Ryan. I told him I knew everything. That Maddie confessed. That the baby might be his. He replied 30 minutes later with 2 emojis, man shrugging and smirking face. That's it. The kind of response that makes you want to drive somewhere and handle things face to face. I didn't. I wanted to. But I didn't. Then he sent another text. Guess we're even now. You always had the better job, the house, the girl. Just balancing the scales. Let me repeat that, just balancing the scales. This guy, my own brother, felt like this was revenge for me being successful? For me working hard and building a stable life? I saw red. I wanted to torch everything. But I didn't respond. I turned off my phone, went into the guest room, and slept there. Maddie didn't try to come in. The next morning I got a lawyer. So here's where things moved fast. I won't go into all the boring paperwork details, but in short, I filed for divorce. Irreconcilable differences. I froze our joint accounts and created a new one for myself. I moved half the funds, exactly half, nothing more. I changed all my passwords. I had my lawyer draft a statement to Maddie about my intent to pursue a paternity test before assuming any financial or parental responsibility. When I told her, she said she understood but also asked if we could still try to be friends. I actually laughed. Out loud. I think I broke a little. Then she cried again and said Ryan had ghosted her, hadn't answered any calls or texts in days. Good. Surprise number 1, my parents found out. 3 days later, I get a call from my dad, rare enough as it is. He says he wants to meet for lunch. Just him. Weird, but okay. I figured maybe he'd heard something from Ryan. Turns out Ryan had already told them his version. According to Ryan, I was emotionally abusive to Maddie, never around, and when she turned to him for comfort, things happened. He framed it like they were star-crossed victims, like he was helping her cope with me. My dad asked me, is any of that true? I just stared at him and said, you really think I'm the problem here? Then I told him everything. The couch. The texts. The baby. His jaw literally dropped. My dad, for once, didn't have a comeback. He called Ryan that night and tore into him. Not because he cheated, but because of how messy this was making things. Classic. Surprise number 2, Maddie's pregnancy was further along. This is where it gets dark. I was ready to walk away, right? Had the divorce lined up. Mentally prepared to be done. Then her OB/GYN results came in and she admitted she was further along than she told me. Why lie? Because it almost guaranteed the baby wasn't mine. And here's the kicker. She already knew. She had done an early DNA test. With Ryan. She just didn't tell me. Her excuse? I didn't want to hurt you more. You know what's more hurtful? Lying for weeks while carrying my brother's kid inside you. That was the last time I looked her in the eyes. Right now, I'm in a short-term rental. The divorce is in motion. I left the house. It's in both our names, but I told my lawyer she could have it if she buys me out or sells it. I don't want anything that has memories of them. Ryan disappeared. Word is he moved to another city. He has a warrant out from an unrelated DUI, go figure. So I hope he stays gone. Maddie still texts me. Says she misses me. That we had something real. And that she's scared to raise a baby alone. I don't reply. She made her bed. Let her and my sorry excuse of a brother lie in it. What I'm asking. I don't need legal advice. I have a good attorney. I just want to know. How do you start over when your whole life turns into a punchline? How do you trust anyone again? I don't know if I'm grieving a marriage, a betrayal, or a piece of myself. I just know this. I'm done being the guy who gets used and still plays nice. No more Mr. Take the High Road. That road didn't lead anywhere good. I thought I'd hit rock bottom. Turns out rock bottom has a basement, and Ryan lives in it rent-free, both figuratively and literally. Last you all heard, I had filed for divorce, confirmed Maddie was pregnant with Ryan's kid, moved out, and was trying to rebuild my sanity. And then Ryan came back. Because of course he did. 3 weeks ago, I got a text from an unknown number. Just an image. No words. It was a freaking baby shower invitation. Celebrating new life and new beginnings. It said. In gold letters on a pastel background with matching booties and ribbons. I had to read it twice. I thought it was some kind of twisted prank. I actually laughed. But the more I stared at it, the more it stopped being funny. I texted the number. Who is this? I got a reply. Figured you'd want to be the first to know. It's happening. No name. Just emojis. But I knew that smug tone anywhere. Ryan. The man knocked up my wife, disappeared for months, and is now back. Throwing a party about it. My parents weren't too thrilled with Ryan after finding out about the pregnancy. But they're also classic enablers. They didn't cut him off. They just told him to figure it out. Well, he figured it out. By showing up to my parents' house with Maddie. Not kidding. My mom called me in a full-on panic. Said they came over unannounced. Maddie looked awkward but glowing. Ryan was acting like he just won an award. Apparently, he told my parents they were official now. Said he wanted to be in the baby's life and was ready to step up. My mom asked, "What about everything you did to your brother?" His answer? He'll get over it. Family forgives. She didn't slap him, which frankly counts as a moral failing. Then Maddie, and this is verified by multiple sources, said, "I think the baby will bring us all together again." My dad apparently muttered, "This kid's gonna be born into a circus. No lies detected." I guess this is the price of going viral, because yes, this story made the rounds on other forums, and someone recognized the situation. I didn't post names or cities, but people love a puzzle. Some genius connected the dots, figured out it was me, and dropped a DM to my company's Instagram saying I was spreading hateful, misogynistic content about a pregnant woman. HR pulled me into a meeting and showed me the post. I was this close to getting suspended. Had to explain everything. Thankfully, my boss is a human being and basically said, "You're going through hell. Take a few days off." So now my personal life is nuked, and my professional life has a faint mushroom cloud hanging over it. Cool. The hospital visit, yes, there was one. Maddie landed in the ER 2 weeks ago. Something with her blood pressure, I don't know all the details, I wasn't there. I wouldn't have known it all if not for my mom, who texted me saying, "She's at County Medical. She asked about you." I didn't go. Not because I want bad things to happen to her, but because I finally accepted that I'm not the hero in her story. I'm not the backup dad. I'm not the support system. I'm the guy who got betrayed, replaced, and now they want to fold me back in for convenience. That's not happening. Later that night, Ryan texted me from a new number, again. "Thanks for showing your true colors. The kid'll know who was there and who wasn't." I didn't respond. Now here's where things really escalate. This past weekend, I was out with some friends, people who've been supporting me through this whole thing. We went to grab wings, just a normal Saturday night. I get back to my apartment and notice something's off. Door's locked. Lights are off. But my doormat is moved. Not a big deal, but I'm obsessive about it. I always center it. I go inside. Everything looks normal, but the window in my bedroom is open just a crack. Enough to make me stop dead. I check my desk. My flash drive, the one with all the saved documents from the divorce and early texts from Maddie, is gone. Gone. I had it stashed in a drawer. And now it's not there. I called the building manager immediately. Asked if anyone had accessed the unit. He said no. I asked for security footage. He says the hallway cam wasn't working that day. I reported it to the police, but without evidence of forced entry, it's just suspicious activity. Want to guess who I think took it? I texted Ryan again from a burner app. You take my flash drive? No reply. Of course not. But 3 days later, Maddie called me in tears. Not to apologize, no. She was calling to ask if I'd reconsider mediation because she doesn't want the baby to grow up in conflict. Mediation. After she let her affair partner break into my home, allegedly steal my files, and gaslight me again. The court date is set for early next month. I've pushed for full financial separation and want nothing to do with the child, legally or otherwise. Not out of cruelty, out of sanity. Ryan and Maddie are apparently trying to make it work, which is hilarious because the only job he's held for more than 3 months was stealing my life. And now? I'm focusing on leaving the city. New job offer in another state. Remote friendly. Fresh start. No drama. I've told my parents I'm done. I'll call on holidays, maybe. But if they invite Ryan and Maddie to anything I'm at, I won't be showing up. Period. Everyone always asks, how could she do that, or why didn't you see it sooner? Truth is, I did see pieces. But love, or what you think is love, makes you ignore those pieces. You give people credit they haven't earned. You overlook things they should be ashamed of. Alright, here it is. I said I'd update after the court date, and I meant it. Buckle up because this ending? I could not have written this twist if I tried. Real life is messier than fiction, and this one wrapped with a surprise that left my jaw on the floor again. Let's rewind. Our hearing was last Thursday. It wasn't dramatic, no shouting, no gavel slams, no soap opera screaming. It was clinical. Emotionless. Exactly what I needed, honestly. I just wanted it over. Maddie looked rough. Tired. Not in a vindictive way, just like someone who'd been slowly unraveling for months and pretending she wasn't. Ryan? Didn't show. Not even once. Just his signature on some legal forms filed by his attorney. Coward behavior as always. My lawyer walked me through everything. Financial separation, locked. House equity, 70-30 in my favor. Paternity denial and release of parental rights, approved. I signed the papers. As far as the law is concerned, I am no longer tied to Maddie in any way. No child support, no shared property, no co-parenting. Just done. I thought that was it. Then the judge asked one last question before finalizing it. Do you want to see the results of the amended paternity report before we close proceedings? I blinked. Amended what? The judge looked at the clerk, who handed my lawyer an envelope. My lawyer leaned over and whispered there was a second test. Different lab? Submitted by her side last week. You didn't get notified? No. I hadn't. I almost told them to forget it. But curiosity's a hell of a drug. The judge opened the envelope and skimmed it. Then said this word for word. According to the supplemental paternity analysis submitted by the petitioner's counsel, the child in question is not biologically related to either respondent listed on prior documentation. Wait. What? I looked at Maddie. She looked like someone had kicked the floor out from under her. I said, I thought Ryan was the dad? The judge looked confused. My lawyer looked confused. Maddie? She just covered her mouth and shook her head. Who's the father, then? I asked. She didn't answer. The courtroom was dead silent for like 10 whole seconds. Then Maddie said, barely audible. It was someone else. It happened one time. I didn't think it was him. I thought it had to be Ryan. Turns out she'd hooked up with a coworker before Ryan, right after an argument we had, right before Ryan moved in. According to her, she panicked, felt alone, made a mistake, yada yada. It wasn't just my brother. It was my brother and a whole other guy. I couldn't make this crap up if I tried. So now Maddie's pregnant with some third guy's baby. She cheated on both of us. Lied to both of us. Ryan went full idiot thinking he was going to be a dad and the real dad? I don't even know if he knows yet. I walked out of that courtroom a free man. No wife. No kid. No legal ties to this circus. Just me, my packed apartment, and the quietest peace I've felt in months. You'd think he'd disappear after that, right? Nope. He found out 2 days later when Maddie called to come clean. I wasn't there, but apparently he lost it. screamed at her, then called my mom and played the victim card again. My mom texted me, "Ryan says he was manipulated." I replied, "Ryan has been manipulating everyone since he was old enough to lie. I'm done explaining. I'm done trying to get anyone to see the obvious." I didn't respond to Ryan directly, but he did leave me a voicemail. Slurred, drunk, full of half-baked threats and sobbing. Then a second one, 5 hours later. "Hey bro, maybe we should talk. Clear the air. We're family. That means something, right?" No, Ryan. It really doesn't anymore. New job offer is official. I'm moving 2 states away next month. New apartment. Clean slate. Nobody around who knows the old story. I won't be that guy with the crazy brother and the cheating ex. I'll just be me again. I've started seeing a therapist. Not for the betrayal, honestly, but to figure out why I tolerated so much before I finally walked away. That's the part I'm unpacking now. If something feels off, it probably is. One red flag is rarely alone. Family doesn't mean loyalty. Protect your peace like your life depends on it. Because sometimes it does. You don't owe anyone a second chance just because they're related to you. You don't owe your partner loyalty when they've gutted your trust. You don't owe anyone anything once they've set fire to your future. Walk away, let it burn, and build again.